Hello! I've spent the majority of the last couple of days playing Pokemon Unite, so today I'm going to tell you my opinions on the game and whether or not I think you should play it. I did a video already on the mechanics of the game when it was still in beta, and that hasn't really changed aside from like the tier list, which I'm not going to go into in this video. But basically, to recap, Pokemon Unite is a free-to-play 5v5 MOBA played on the Switch, and eventually it's also going to be available on mobile phones. A lot of people, myself included, have been waiting for a Pokemon MOBA for a very long time. I personally didn't play any Dota, but I got pretty far into League for a little while, so I was so excited to see that style of a game, but with Pokemon as its theme. And the Pokemon theme definitely delivers. In addition to the Pokemon being spread across pretty much every generation except Gen 2, no love for Gen 2 for some reason, there are Pokemon around each of the stadiums. You'll see Pokemon in different like actual physical features. There's even this Wobbuffet, like a wacky inflatable arm flailing tube man Wobbuffet in one of the arenas, and just like that's great and hilarious and perfect in every way. There's also a whole bunch of elements to it that feel very Pokemon, including evolution, leveling up, defeating wild Pokemon, Unite balls. There's a lot of Pokemon going on here. I mean, even the moves that your Pokemon are using are based on actual moves from the regular video game. As a huge Pokemon fan, this makes me really happy. I also like that, unlike League of Legends and other MOBAs, Pokemon Unite has a specific time period for each match, so you know exactly what you're getting into before you get started. This has made it so much easier for me to play. Like, the main reason I stopped playing League was because I couldn't tell how long a match was gonna take, and that made it really difficult for me to plan my life and plan when I was going to play the game. Like, if you know a match is only gonna be like 5 or 10 minutes, it's a lot easier to pick up the game and actually play. Another thing that's nice about the way it's set up is that it is possible to kind of turn things around at the end of the game and win. So except for in like a few circumstances where you're like really far behind, I don't a lot of times feel super defeated. I think the length of the game also helps with this as well, because I remember matches of League taking a really long time, but I figured I was gonna lose from like kind of early on. Pokemon Unite doesn't have this problem because the matches are so short. Having the matches be relatively short also lets you try out more of the characters to figure out who you really like, which I definitely appreciate. I mean, technically you could go into training mode and test out different characters that way in most MOBAs, but like that's kind of boring. It's not as fun, and it doesn't give you as much information as playing a real game with that character. I also appreciate that there's different game modes in Pokemon Unite, so you can play just regular matches, you can play competitive matches, or you can play in these like shorter matches that have different numbers of players. This has been super cool because there have been situations where we wouldn't have 5 people, like we'd have 4 people exactly, and so rather than playing in the regular matches, we would play a match specific to 4 people, so we had the exact number of people that we needed. I mean, technically we could queue in a stranger, but like that's kind of awkward, you know? Basically, the game has enough flexibility to make playing with other people really fun. Another thing I like is that there's quite a few levels of customization, both in terms of what your player character actually looks like, your trainer profile card that people can see at the very beginning of the match, and which Pokemon you choose, and then what moves they learn, and what items they're carrying, and then like there's just so many choices that you get to make in terms of how you play. The meta is still developing, but people are starting to realize that certain choices are probably better than others, but this is gonna kind of change over time as people figure things out, which is really cool. Like, who knows, maybe somebody will play something totally off meta and wreck everyone. That is really exciting. Okay, now on to the things about Pokemon Unite that I don't like as much. The menus in Pokemon Unite are not straightforward. Like, it can be a challenge to find exactly where everything is located. You get rewards in like 3 different places. You change things about your Pokemon before battle in like 3 different places. It's just, that's kind of a mess. The only thing that's really easy and obvious to find is the shop. And that gets me into my other complaint about the game, which is that To some extent, it is pay to win. In Pokemon Unite, one of the biggest ways that you can increase your Pokemon's stats is by giving it held items, especially held items that have been leveled up. To level up these held items, you need to use item enhancers, which are kind of difficult to get. Well, that is, if you're not willing to spend exorbitant amounts of money. There have been times in Pokemon Unite when my enemy will do way more damage than they realistically should be able to, and the only possible explanation for that is that they have crazy items that they've paid for, because at this point in the game, if you're not actually paying money into the game, your items cannot possibly be at that level. Fortunately for me, that hasn't come up that much. I've maybe seen like 3 to 5 people who have had crazy items. But every time it happens, it's really annoying because it kind of feels like the other person is winning not based on their merits, but based on how much money they have in their pocket. The currency system is also really confusing, so people might spend their actual real life money on things that you can just get by playing the game, which is pretty manipulative. In general, I would recommend getting and playing Pokemon Unite, but I wouldn't recommend spending any money on it yet until we learn a little bit more about what's good to actually buy with your real life money. At that point, if you put a bunch of time into it and you're really loving the game, absolutely I would recommend spending whatever money that you want to spend on it within reasonable standards of whatever living situation you have right now. But I would just be careful until you kind of get to that point. If you want to watch me play Pokemon Unite, I'll be live streaming it right here on Tuesday at 8 p.m. EST. I'll probably be playing quite a bit of my current main right now, which is Pikachu, who is also on my shirt. So make sure you tune in because it's going to be a lot of fun. If you like this video, click that like button. If you want to see more, click subscribe. Bye!